Hello everyone, welcome again to another episode of the Polished Lens podcast. I'm Fola Fayo, the perception shaper and your host on this show. I'm happy to be here again with you. I believe you've been having a wonderful one so far in the month of July and starting to experience indeed the better half of the year 2022. Today, I am excited again, like every other episode, with a special guest to let you know that I have someone who's been here with us before share the platform with me. I have Moyo. She was here with us last year. We're going to be talking today about summer, family vacations, the thrills, and the frills. So thank you, Moyo, for being part of the show today.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Moyo, and it's good to be back.
All right. So last time Moyo came, she shared a poem with us, and this time around, we're going to be going a bit into some casual, fun gist. And before we go on, I know that some people might be listening in to you for the first time on the Polished Lens. So we want to meet you just a bit again. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know as we go on, the listeners will get to know a bit more about you, but just give us some sneak preview into who you are.
So, like I said, I am Moyo. I am 16 years old and I am in high school at the moment. What do I like to do? I like music. I like sports. I like to read. And in school, my favorite subjects are history, sociology, econ, basically the humanities. The reason I am on this podcast is because Fola Fayo is my mom. And not only that, but I think I am a connoisseur of everything planning for vacations because I've had my fair share of planning for vacations. I like vacations and I like planning them.
Awesome. All right. But it's definitely good to be able to share this platform with you. So just as we go into the conversation for today, Moyo, let's talk about our favorite time of the year. You go first.
Okay. That's a hard question. I think my favorite time of the year has to be winter, the fall, whenever it gets colder and whenever we're getting closer to Christmas, New Year's. I think the reason I enjoy that time of the year is because it really has the ability to bring people, especially families, together. And it's very, very close to my birthday. So what is not to love?
Good for you. My birthday comes early. I'm not sure my birthday season is my favorite time. I think I like winter, but I also like the fall because of the colors. The colors happen to be my favorite, actually. And the Polished Lens theme colors are just about that time of the year as well. They synchronize with that time of the year. I think another thing that makes me like that time of the year, like you said, is the weather getting a little bit cooler. I'm kind of wary of when it's kind of really hot. You don't really have to worry about what you're wearing much, maybe a light sweater and you're basically fine when it's fall. And then, of course, you have to be fully cladded up when it's when it's winter. But for those of us who grew up in the part of Africa that's really warm and hot a good part of the year, we're always very excited about anything snowy because it's not something we grew up with. So I think that's probably one of the things that makes that time of the year special. However, we're not going to be talking about winter today. We're not going to be talking about fall today. We're going to be talking about summer because we're right in the middle of summer this time, right? And then when you think about summer, what comes to mind for you?
Family vacation.
Family vacation. All right. So what about that really is intriguing for you?
I think because summer is the time when obviously a lot of kids are done with school. And to me, it feels very liberating because I wake up in summer and I'm like, okay, I have no schoolwork to think about, no tests, no homework to think about. And it makes me happy. It makes me feel like I don't have to worry about too much. So being able to spend a time where I'm not stressed is something that I look forward to in the year.
Awesome. Yeah, while I know that kids like that time of the year and maybe some business owners like myself are intentional to plan breaks for that time of the year, I think it could also be a challenging time for many parents, right? Because, when it's school time or when kids are in school, they know that their kids are engaged, learning, playing with friends, but being home, the parents now have that challenge of making sure their kids are consistently engaged. And for parents who are conscious about kids growing appropriately, and wholesomely, you're thinking about not just play all summer. So that could be a challenging one for parents.
Yeah.
However, when we think about the opportunity to go on a vacation together as a family, I think that kind of puts a bit of a twist on the whole interpretation of how summer is perceived, right?
100%.
Okay, so while we're thinking about summer vacations, I know a lot of times that could pop up some concerns in the minds of a lot of people. They are thinking, oh, do I have the time? Do I have funding for it? What could we say about that on this one?
You know, I understand there's a lot of pressure when it comes to money and when it comes to timing, but we have identified two categories of vacations. There is the budget vacations, and then there is the more high-end, more luxury. And it really is dependent on your funding and what you can to make this work. Not to say that budget vacations cannot still be fun and you can still enjoy yourself. Absolutely not. It's the absolute opposite. Budget vacations, when you use your resources and when you use the correct timing, they can be probably the best fun you've had all year. The difference between budget vacations and luxury and high-end vacations is the money spent. The people are still the same. So if you're focused on the people and not the money you're spending during those vacations, it does not really matter. Now, the resources might be a bit more limited when it comes to budget vacation, but you can always make it work.
I like that. I like the emphasis on the fact that we shouldn't forget that when we're thinking family vacations, one thing is important and key, and that's the people you're spending the time with. I know for couples that might be a little bit easier because it's just the two of you. But when you have kids and you want the basics met, you're wondering how much should you cover. I think looking into the possibility of vacations at all, what I could recommend for families is having a budget for it at the beginning of the year and planning towards it. So even if what you do is a family vacation once a year, once in 2 years, the planning before could help you to understand if you're going to have the budget one or if you're going to have the luxury one. The other thing I would like to add on these categories will be the timing. I think a lot of times when people think vacation, they're thinking it has to be at least a week long for it to make sense. But, you have to start thinking about a weekend getaway.
Yeah.
Also falls into that category, right?
Yeah. We've had weekend getaways that are some of the best memories in our family. Just being able to drive out of the city and temporarily forget what we left behind at home. It's quite nice. It's quite relaxing. And it's a great way to spend time with the family, especially if you are driving where you are all stuck in the same car and you can get annoyed with each other.
Yeah. Now that you talk about driving, I know that one of the budget vacations we've had when we were in Lagos was to Ile-Ife, Ibadan, and then we also got to do a day trip to Erin-Ijesha and all of that. It wasn't one of the luxury holidays we've had as a family, but it was just as much fun. And we still have a lot of memories and, pictures, and we make a lot of reference to that time. All right, that's so good. So let's start with that for families listening in today. Vacations are a great thing to do together during the summer. I know not every parent can take time off from work, but you can plan a Friday into a Sunday evening getaway and do something budget. And just to be able to take that time away, like Moyo has said, from your routine and from your regular space. All right, so let's go into other kinds of vacations you could actually plan for. Which one comes to mind quickly for you?
Yeah, because there are different types of things you can do on vacations. One would be the historical vacation. For example, you're going to museums, you're going to monuments, you are going to the places where history has been made. And a lot of people can find these boring, but there is a rise of interactive museums at this time. So it can be boring, but it depends on how you make it. These are for the people that love to learn, that love to get new information about different kinds of places.
Okay, so I will put that under discovery and learn. So if the goal of your family at the time when you're going on that vacation is not just to leave the house and to be together, you will have someone who is keen on learning. You have someone who wants to discover a new city, new culture, and their history. Then you're thinking about the historical kind of holiday. All right. Now, the other kind of holiday that I know is also popular is the fun play one, right? Where it's theme packed. You're looking at examples like amusement parks. You're looking at the water parks. You're looking at parks like Disney. Universal Studios and you're going into one attraction or the other.
Yeah.
So if you have that time of the year or that time in your life where you really have energetic kids and you just want them to go burn some energy, that's a holiday to plan, right? And you know that during that holiday, you're not thinking about weight loss because there's going to be
Absolutely
there's
not.
going to be a lot of sugar intake because you need all that energy. You're going to be taking lots of slushies, ice cream,
Cotton candy, chocolates, it's just so much that you're going to be taking, both like eating wise and sights wise. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
You need energy for these kind of trips.
Yeah.
It is not something to be taken lightly. If you want to go out, come back and sleep the minute your head hits the pillow, this is the vacation for you.
I know we've had our share of that as well. And like we said earlier, this is one that you want to engage or plan for when there's a lot of energy ready to be released for the family, or you've heard about a theme park that has become a must go to for the family. All right.
These are for the daredevils, the ones that want to go on the fastest roller coasters in the world. Yeah. And then there is, I think, one of my personal favorites, the rejuvenating vacations. The vacations where you are sleeping, and a little more sleeping. These are the ones where you check in and your hotel becomes your habitat. You are sleeping there, you are eating there, you are doing everything there. The only time I leave the hotel for these kind of vacations are to go to the pool or to eat,
Yes, I know. The other thing you need to stay mindful of on this type of holiday is picking a location or accommodation that isn't in town. You cannot take a downtown location and say you are having a lazy holiday because when you look through your window and you see the lights at night, you'll be tempted to want to go see what's going on at night, right? So for this one, you want a more serene environment. You want something by the beach. You want something
in the mountains
with a lot of natural views where you get to walk through nature and breathe in fresh air. And get to have splashes in the beach again, like we said. Those kind of locations are the types that go under this category. I feel like couples enjoy this more when they have getaways from their kids because then they reborn better because they don't have the distraction of social media and tech devices. But if families are planning this with kids, they need to bring their children along on the understanding that, look, this is a holiday where you're not going to have access to the internet like you have it at home, and we're going to have fun outside of the normal things that we do.
I think this is one of the best vacations for real bonding because you're not dependent on the rides you're going to be going to. You're not dependent on the museums you're going to be seeing. You are stuck with this family. I'm telling you, if you are annoyed with them, this is the best time to let it all go because it's close quarters. This is the best time to really get to know one another. And of course, you don't just have these types of vacations alone. You don't just have, this is just a historical vacation, or this is just amusement park vacation, or this is just a lazy vacation. There's a way to mix them. You can have one day for this, one day for that,
Yeah, so in other words, you can think about having both a historical and a fun one. You could say if you have a 2 weeks holiday, you're having 1 week for the fun and 1 week for the historical, or you could do it every other day. One thing we have tried to do with some of our holidays is to say we are indoors one day, we're outdoors the next day. Now, for those mamas who can go on a family vacation without shopping, because I know some people will have been saying, Falafel, you've not mentioned shopping at all. What about the shopping holidays? So I do agree. If you live in that part of the world where getting the regular things you need to use daily for the kids, for school, for outings are not easy to find, you want to maximize your vacations as opportunities to accumulate those things, to acquire those things for the next 1 year, right? So yes, definitely you want to plan shopping. The only thing is that I would say make sure that your shopping is spaced out and try to do the shopping at the very early stages, right? Don't do it towards the end because shopping can be very tiring. And you don't want those kind of holidays where you go back home and you're thinking, I need another holiday. Yeah. I need another holiday. So make sure to plan your shopping at the very early stage. Give yourself breaks in between. You're going out and just take that time to be indoors. All right. That's so good. Okay. So let's talk about all the details around the vacation that mustn't be missed.
Yeah, because oftentimes we get so carried away with, oh my gosh, we're going to have so much fun. We're going to go see this. We forget about the logistics, the important things. Number one, the documentation and those bookings. Bookings, you need to make them in advance. You cannot wait until you get to that place and be like, okay, let's go here today. You need to think about these things in advance. For documentation, when we talk about visas, passports, expiry dates, renewals.
Yeah, you need to make sure that is in place. I know that I've heard stories about families where they got to the airport and they found out that one of the kids' passports was just going to be expiring in 3 months. And for some trips like that, if you're going to be leaving your country or your home country, you might be required to have at least 6 months validity on a passport. So you want to check out those details as you plan. And yes, bookings are critical. Now, one of the reasons why making early bookings could be very beneficial is you get to have discounts if you book early enough on tickets, on theme parks, and on quick passes, and what they call those other passes, VIP passes at some of the theme attractions, because you want to be sure that you maximize your day at such theme parks, right? Yeah. So that's one thing you want to be looking into. And the thing with detailing on this documentation is that you must remember that a lot of things need to be considered, like the dietary plans of the children, the dietary plans of members of the family, which will determine, for example, what kind of hotel you'll be booking, and the proximity to certain locations that you want to make sure you visit when you're, on such a holiday. Now, the other thing about bookings that I think you might also find helpful is if you plan to stay close enough to family that you might have or friends in that city, because if you want them to be able to check you up or to do certain fun things together with them, then you want to have that consideration as well.
Yeah, let's talk more about the accommodation that you mentioned. This is another place where budget or luxury comes in. You don't have to do a hotel all the time. You could take cheaper options, such as staying in a hostel or, for example, in a family or friend's house. And then there are the more expensive ones, such as Airbnbs, where it is just you and your family. You buy your groceries. It is you're cleaning up after yourself. Or you could take a hotel where you're waited on hand and foot. There are different levels to the sort of accommodation that you can do. And you want to pick one that fits your family. If you're a big family, you do not want to be staying in a small hotel room. If you are a smaller family, you don't want too much space that you feel like, okay, what are we going to do now?
Yes. The thing about understanding your family size with some of these bookings and reservations is that you don't want to get to your holiday spot and then start getting shock discoveries, right? I know I have a family member who was in Europe once with his family, and they discovered that you could not take a taxi with more than 3 people in the car. And they are a family of 5. So every time they had to take a taxi, they had to take 2 cars or book a minivan. All right. So you want to understand what kind of logistics operate in that city you're going to and plan ahead for it. And then, of course, if you're taking the option of an Airbnb that is not the regular hotel where you can get meals in the hotel, then you have to prepare to cook. And cooking means that you probably need to shop for groceries. So you need to know how close a grocery store is to your location. I remember one of the holidays we had that we kept walking and we're looking for the right grocery place just to find spices and, bread and eggs and milk that we're going to use to cook. And of course, we can tell you that it is more convenient to stay in a hotel. But again, if the plan for that holiday is that it has to be budget, then you need to know how easy and plan the ease of your getting your meals done and every other thing being convenient for you to have fun. The idea is you're breaking away from routine and you are having fun while you're away. What other things shouldn't we forget to mention with respect to planning for the holiday?
I think another thing that's very, very important is packing. You need to pack for the right weather, for the right circumstances. And I think packing goes hand in hand with your itinerary, what you plan to do on that holiday. If, for example, it is the middle of summer and you are planning to go to this theme park and to this water park, why would you forget to bring a swimsuit? Or why would you forget to bring shorts and clothes for the summer? Now, if you are not going in the summer, if you are going in the middle of winter in a specific country and you are packing only shorts and short sleeve tops, you will freeze. So I think by knowing what you're going into, by doing your research about the weather or the places you're going to be going to, you can pack with those sort of places in mind. If you're going on hikes and doing more sporty activities, don't forget your clothes for sports and such and such.
Yeah, the other thing about packing is, like you said, your itinerary. Because if you have a number of outing days and most of the clothes you packed are indoor clothes, then you're going to be stuck. You're going to be thinking, oh, I need to quickly wash my pair of jeans. I quickly need to wash that top again. And if you're someone who doesn't like washing or ironing, then you probably want to pack those kind of clothes that if you wash quickly on your own, they can get dry in the bathrooms without you getting to iron them. So you want to pick fabric clothes that are easy to just wash and wear. And that's what it's called, right? And basically the idea with packing is pack exactly what you need. You don't want to overpack, but you don't want to underpack as well.
I think as the girls, not to be stereotypical, but as the only daughter, I have the tendency to overpack sometimes. But I look at my brothers and see that half of the time they don't have anything to wear. So I'm always glad. So you need to know the kind of person you are. Are you the kind of person to repeat outfits, especially when you're taking pictures? So, yeah.
Now, just before we leave on the details of the holiday itself, I just also want to mention the bit about itinerary. That is so key. Now, if you all in your family are spontaneous people, fine. You don't need to plan anything. Just pack your things, head out to the airport or the train station, and then head to your location and unveil what it is you want to do there. But if you have at least one person in the family who at least wants to understand what's going to be happening on most days, you want to make sure that you have an itinerary put together. Again, we said earlier, this itinerary helps you make bookings ahead, because if you need to go into some attractions, some historical places and pay ahead, then this is the time to make sure that your itinerary is in order. I'm glad that we have Moyo in our family who does the research on this one and tells us, okay, guys, this is what you're doing today. This is what you're doing tomorrow. This is how we're going to move. We're going to have to eat out. We're eating in today. That really helps a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, for sure. It does. I think knowing what you're going into prepares you. You don't want to go to bed not knowing whether tomorrow if you're going to swim or if you're going to go to a museum. That's just the kind of person I am. I just want to know what I have in mind so I can wake up and not be in a bad mood. I don't want to wake up and be like, oh my gosh, we have to go to this place today. I want to be ready from the day before. So
yeah. And so that brings my own point on this one to say that look at the person in the family that is very detailed and very into research. Don't say, oh, because this person is the mom or because this person is the oldest. If you have your youngest who loves to do research, please give that task to that child. The person would definitely love the idea of going online, looking up all the important places and tour opportunities that you guys can look into as a family, and perhaps just be able to tell you, I think we should be eating at this place today. So don't let the age of the child or the age of the family member be the determining factor to who will plan the itinerary. Okay, so let's not miss out as we close in today on those tiny things that every family must remember to do before they can say, we're back home. We've had a lovely family vacation. What are those things that they need to look out for?
I think our family goes into vacations with the mindset that we want to spend time as a family, not just with the family. You don't want these people to just be around you. You want to spend time as a family to build relationships, to strengthen those connections, and you want to make memories. And what is the number one way to make sure those memories are not forgotten? Pictures. Now, this is the digital age. There's so much technology around us, so use it. Sometimes you want to enjoy the moment, but if you don't want to forget that moment, take a picture. Our master of taking the pictures right here. She'll give you a few tips on that.
Okay. So I know that in the past, when I first got into photography, I used to take some of my regular cameras with me. But with time, I found out that, look, the phones we have today are just as good as some of those cameras, and actually they have good space. But what you want to be intentional to do is to make sure that your phone has enough space, right? Your phone has enough space. And while we're encouraging that pictures be taken, we're also saying enjoy the moment. So you want to make sure you are truly enjoying the moment. And, these pictures you are taking, while you want to keep them for memory's sake, I know a lot of us who are active on social media are like, okay, we need to still take something that might be important or clear enough or interesting enough for the gram, right? But at the same time, remember that you are taking those pictures first for memory's sake for the family. It's always so beautiful those times when we have it projected on the TV and then we're like, oh, this was the holiday we had in 2020. This was the holiday we had in 2018. It's always so good. So yes, pictures should be a part of it. The other thing that I wanted to say, because Moyo said earlier about spending time, is we've been intentional when we're trying to bond as a family to do a lot of talks. We do a lot of talks. For people of faith, you could also maximize fellowship with the children. We do that a lot with our kids when they're on holidays. So we get to look into the word together, pray together, learn something from the word together, listen to a message online, and basically, go deep into the takeouts we've had. So that's an opportunity to bond because you are seeing the reasoning levels of your kids and their understanding level when it comes to the things of the faith, and you can basically encourage and challenge them. The other thing is that we have some games that we usually take with us. We love Monopoly and Cash Flow 101. It's one of the best games we've ever played. I mean, as a family, it's one of our favorites. We love playing it together. So we always take at least one or two of those games together.
Yeah.
And then there are some other interesting games that the kids always bring up during meals that we also play. And we do those on those days when we are indoors. So apart from reading and just watching TV, when we are indoors, we actually talk, fellowship together, and play these games. What else shouldn't we forget to mention today?
Yes. So along with taking pictures to keep memories, you might also want a physical reminder of that place. For example, our family, as souvenirs, we collect magnets. They're decorated all on our fridge. You see a lot of the places we've been to. Even when one of us takes a solo trip, we buy a magnet for the family. So maybe identify what your family likes to collect in form of souvenirs. It could be shirts. It could be little figurines, but we do magnets. And don't forget to get something that physically reminds you of the place. It might not be something with the words Paris written out in the cursive letters. It could be something sentimental that just reminds you of the place and the memories you've made.
In fact, some of the things that you could also collect are the pens in the rooms. Now that I'm talking about the pens in the room and the notepad paper in the room, you could just take a piece of the paper from the notepad and then the pen, and you have that as, okay, we got this pen from this hotel, The other thing that I know I've done a bit is when we get into a hotel, I do a quick video, and I do the video from the door saying, this is our room in this hotel in this city with the year, and I do a quick run through the room, the view, and of course the bathroom just before we start using. I'm always saying to the kids, don't touch anything, don't move anything, just wait for me to do our welcome video. And then we take our final picture in the room just before we check out, saying, for memory's sake, that this is where we spend time together during this holiday. All right. Now, I also want to mention that another thing that will be good as a takeaway from every holiday is making sure to do something peculiar to that place that you're going to visit. Yeah. So it could be trying out a meal, or making sure you visit a popular place in that particular city, or doing something that that is just peculiar to that city. I know that our first time paragliding, we got to do that because we were in a city that was known for paragliding, right?
Right. So for all you foodies out there, go try a new meal. Go be exposed to a new culture, a new nationality, and, going to these new places, tasting this new food is somehow, in a way, living their life. You might not like it, but at least you have tried it. At least you know what it tastes like. At least you know what the people of that city enjoy, right? Also, the places, visit everywhere you possibly can. For example, I know there are lots of walking tours in small cities where you go on a walk for maybe 3-4 hours and you've seen all that you need to see. That's a great way to try something new that you haven't done before. When it comes to activities, go skiing if you've never done that before. Go surfing, go hiking, go paragliding. When you're traveling to a new place, you don't just want to see everything, you want to experience it. And this is a reminder to be a tourist, taste the food, do the activities, just do all that you can to experience that city and why other people love that city. Yeah,
so I know that most of these things might be things that are not quite popular as examples in the African areas, but I can tell you that there are a lot of interesting things that one can do in all the other regions in the world that we probably haven't made reference to. I mean, we still have a lot of locations on our dream list. Yeah. So we will definitely be back sometime in the future, sharing more tips on thriving through planning for a family vacation and actually enjoying a family vacation. It was definitely a pleasure having you with me today, Moyo.
It was a pleasure being here.
Is there anything else you just want to drop for, a family or a child in a family that is planning a vacation soon as your final words for today?
You know what? This vacation, you can't get bogged down with the details. You can't be obsessed with them. As someone that is often the person that plans something, I have the tendency to get bogged down with details. Oh, we didn't do this at the right time. We didn't do this today. We were supposed to do this today. Vacations are to have fun as a family, as a couple, as a group of people, as friends. It is a time, like I've said over and over in this podcast, to strengthen relationships and to build connections. And that's what needs to be at the back of your mind when you are planning for this. No one cares about what food you're going to eat that day. No one cares about how the hotel looks. At the end of the day, 10 years from then, you are going to remember the memories you made with these people.
Awesome. I like that. Memories. Yes, I know in the minds of some parents, they'll be thinking memories and money. Because yes, we're the ones putting out the money down. We're the ones swiping the cards, right? So we know that we have to plan for that. But basically, like we've said, it's an opportunity for you to really get away from your routine. If you've not listened into a previous session I had on Thriving Thursday on the law of Sabbath, you definitely want to listen to it, because I basically try to emphasize the benefits of taking time off to rest and to really bond with your loved ones. And I can tell you that we've had all types of family vacations in the last years of our lives, and we always look forward to it as a family. And if your family hasn't really been doing that, you definitely want to start considering that. Yes, plan for it. If you're not doing anything this summer, plan towards Christmas. You can start with something like a road trip, and then maybe in a year's time, you can all fly somewhere that you've all been looking forward to. The important thing is that you're having fun and you're spending time together. Thank you, Moyo, again for being with us today.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
We look forward to you joining another episode of the Polished Lens podcast in a fortnight's time. Stay blessed and keep thriving. Bye-bye.